Okay, hi everyone, hope you're getting on alright. So today we're carrying on with finding fractions of amounts, but this time we're doing non-unit fractions. So if you think back to yesterday, we're doing finding fractions of amounts when the numerator was 1. So when it was 1/2, 1/3, 1/4. Today we're going to be doing it when it's not necessarily a unit fraction, so maybe we'll be looking for 2/3, or 2/4, or 3/4. So it's a little bit different, but the idea is quite similar. So we're going to get started. So a quick recap. When we're dealing with fractions, the denominator, or the bottom of the fraction, that's how many parts we split the whole into. And the numerator, the top of the fraction, that's how many of those parts there are. So here we've got a rectangle, or a bar, and what we've done, we've split it. So what we're going to do is write this out as a fraction. So let's do the denominator of the fraction first. So the bottom of the fraction. So we've got our line, we're looking for the denominator. So we look, how many parts have we split the whole into? So have a look at the rectangle. How many parts has it been split into? Yeah, that's 4 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So the denominator of our fraction is 4 parts. So our denominator is 4. So now, the numerator of the fraction, the top of the fraction, that's how many of the parts there are. So in this case, it's shaded. So how many shaded parts have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, and then 1 not shaded. So we've got 3 parts that are shaded. So the shaded fraction of the shape is 3/4 of that shape. I'm sure some of you are confident with this already, but it's good to just think about in fractions what each of those things are. So I've got the denominator, the bottom, that's how many parts there are, so that was this 4 here. And the numerator, that is how many of the parts we actually have. So in this case, how many parts are shaded? And that is 3 of the 4 parts. So you can think of 3/4 as 3 out of 4 parts. Right, so today we're going to look at how do we find a fraction of an amount. So yesterday we looked at stuff like how would we find 1/4 of 24. Today we're going to look at how we'd find 3/4. So we're going to use our diagram from the first section. So you should have just had a rectangle diagram pop up similar to what we had in the first one. And we've already seen the shaded parts here, that represents 3/4 because we've got 3 out of the 4 parts. So it's split into 4, so that means our denominator is 4. We've got 3 parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to imagine that we've got boxes, and we've got 4 boxes here. And we're going to split this 24 into those boxes. So we've got 4 boxes, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. And at the end, because we're going to be getting 3/4, we're going to get 3 of those boxes, and we need to work out how much we get. So let's divide 24 by 4, because that'll tell us how much needs to go in each box. So we'll do 24 divided by 4, and that gives us 6. So what that tells us, if we put the same amount in each box, we've got 6, 6, 6, and 6. So we put 6 in each box, and we've got 3/4. So we've got these 3 boxes, 1, 2, 3. So we've got 3 lots of 6. So we've divided by 4 to work out how much goes in one box, and now we need to work out how much we have in total. So we're going to do 6 times 3 because we've got 3 lots of 6. So in these 3 boxes altogether we've got 18. So you could do 6 add 6 add 6, or you could do 6 times 3. It's 3 lots of 6. And so we've got 18. So 3/4. Oh, in fact I'll do that down here. 3/4 of 24 equals 18. We've worked that out because we split it into 4, and we know we have 3 of them. So just looking up here what we did, so we divided our number by the denominator, so we did 24 divided by 4 to get 6. And then when we had our answer, we multiplied that by the numerator, so we got our answer 6. We then did 6 times our numerator, which was 3, to get our final answer of 18. So these 2 steps, so divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator, this is what we do whenever we're doing any fractions. When we're doing a fraction of an amount, we divide it by the denominator, we times it by the numerator. So I'm going to go through a few more examples. So 2/3 of 18. So we've got our diagram pre-drawn for us. Let's do the same idea again. So we've got 3 parts and we need to work out how much goes in each part. So we've got 18. We need to work out how much goes in each box. So we do 18, we're going to divide it into 3 parts because there's 3 boxes. So dividing by the denominator here. So 18 divided by 3 gives us 6. So we've worked out how much goes in each box. 6, 6. 6 goes in each box. And now we can see that we've got 2 of them. And that is because our numerator is 2. So we're going to do 6 times 2, which gives us 12. So what that tells us is 2/3 of 18 equals 12. So it's not too complicated when you've got this method up here. We divided by the numerator, divide by the denominator, so 18 divided by 3. Then we times it by the numerator. So we take our answer, we times it by the numerator, which is 2 in this case, to get 12 as our final answer. So 2/3 of 18 is 12. So let's keep going. If you're feeling confident with it, feel free to pause the video on the next one and have a go at doing it yourself. So how would we find 4/9 of 90? So this one I'm going to do without a diagram, but we are going to have the method up here. Divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator. So let's do that. So what is our denominator in this case? So our denominator is 9. So for step 1, divide by the denominator. So 90 divided by 9. So how many 9s go into 90? That is 10. So we've got what 1/9 is. Let's work out what 4/9 is. So we need to multiply by the numerator. So we're going to multiply by 4. So we've got our answer 10. So we do 10. We times by the numerator, which gives us 40. So that tells us 4/9 of 90 equals 40. Brilliant. So basically, key steps: divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator. So again, a couple more. So 3/10 of 20. If you want to practice, have a go. Pause the video now and see how you get on with it. Check your answer with mine afterwards, though. So if you're feeling like you've got the hang of it, have a go at this one before we go and do some practice. So 3/10 of 20. So let's go. Step 1: divide by the denominator. So we've got our number. Going to divide it by the denominator. So 20 divided by 10, that gives us 2. And then we've worked out what 1/10 is here. What we need though, we've got 3/10. So then we need to multiply by the numerator. So we've got 2 times it by 3, which gives us 6. So 3/10 of 20 equals 6. Okay, so one more example. So we've got 1/7 of 14. So firstly, steps are still the same. The key difference we notice here actually is our numerator is 1, but we'll see what happens with that in a minute. So we're going to divide by the denominator. So our denominator is 7. So we're going to do 14 divided by, by 7, not by 2, by 7. And that gives us the answer of 2. So 14 divided by 7 is 2. So we've worked out what 1/7 is. And now, normally what we'd do is we'd multiply by the numerator. So we'd do 2 times 1. But that just gives us 2. So we've got our same answer. And this is our final answer. 1/7 of 14 is 2. That is true. But the key thing is it's not actually changed. When we divided by the denominator originally, what we're doing is we're working out 1/7 of it. Or if we were dealing with 6, we'd have worked out 1/6. So we're working out what one of them is. When we're doing the next step, the multiplying step, we're just scaling it up. So we've worked out what 1/7 is. If we're looking for 3/7, we'd then times by 3 because we've got 3 of them. In this case, though, we're just looking for 1/7. So we just do the division and then the multiplication doesn't change the answer. Okay, so last one. This is definitely a bit tougher, but if you're feeling confident, have a go. Feel free, pause the video now, have a go, and then I'll go through this one now. Okay, so with this one, the question's saying which is bigger out of 2/5 of 20 or 3/5 of 15. So we need to work out what number those are. So we need to work out what is 2/5 of 20 and what is 3/5 of 15. So we'll start off with this one. So let's work out 2/5 of 20. So the first step, as before, is divide by the denominator. So we're going to do 20 divided by 5, which gives us 4. And then we multiply by the numerator. So we do 4 times 2, which gives us 8. So we've done our 2 steps, we've worked out our answer. That is 8. So now we'll do it with this one over here. So again, we're going to divide by the denominator. So we've got 15. Our denominator is 5, so we divide by 5, which gives us 3. And then we need to multiply by the numerator. So we're going to do 3 times 3, because our numerator is 3, which gives us 9. So we've got our 2 answers. Which is bigger then? 8 or 9? Nice easy one to finish with. I'm sure most of you are happy that 9 is bigger than 8. So that tells us that 3/5 of 15 is bigger than 2/5 of 20, because 9 is bigger than 8. So we've got our answer. You will see questions like this. They're a little bit tougher because you've got 2 questions in one, but it's the same idea. You work out what number each of them is, and then you compare the numbers.